article goes on to say that this summer is make or break as far as retooling the roster for another championship run in what will be year 20 for the King. Stack, what do the Lakers need to do this offseason to get the most out of LeBron next season?
Well, for me, I think they done it. They fired Vogel. I said this from the jump.
Wow.
Vogel wasn't the guy. Vogel wasn't the guy when they first started. Before they even won the championship, I said he wasn't the guy to deal with all those personalities and all those egos. And they had Jay Kidd at the time. And Jay Kidd took a lot of pressure off him. So when things go bad, you know, a lot of guys go to Jay Kidd. But Vogel was not the guy from the jump for me. So I think getting rid of him is going to answer a lot of questions, because when you have a coach that's not confident in being able to run his team, when you have a coach that thinks he can't really control the rosters or control what's going on in the locker room, and he have to answer the people upstairs, that's not the confident coach you want on your team. And trust me, the players going to see that. The players going to see who's running the organization, who's really running the locker room. And when the coach is not doing that, he kind of loses respect from the team, from the players. And I think Vogel lost that, especially when things start going bad. With Jay Kidd there, I think a lot of those guys can confide in Jay Kidd and talk to him and kind of figure out what's going wrong and talk to him as a player. Vogel's a great coach. I'm not taking anything from him, but the team that they had with Russ, Carmelo, AD, and LeBron, I just don't think he was the guy for it, and I think it shows. But for the most part, they have to get guys in there that want to win and want to play with LeBron. And you can't say LeBron's wasting the year, because, look, he averaged 30 points this year. Damn it. He had a great year, so he's not wasting a year. He's doing his job. Everybody else needs to come along and do their job as well.
Fact.
So, listen, I think firing Vogel was a good first step, but other steps need to follow. And the Lakers brew need to decide who they want to be. Do they want to continue to be the Lakers, or do they just want to be a team in a great city with good weather that is going to do what Oklahoma City tries to do and build through the draft? Here's a fun one, Brew, and I'm sure you do know it. The last player the Lakers drafted that was a key part of a Lakers championship, that was James Worthy. Now, you want to say Kobe because they traded for Kobe on draft day, fine. That's fine. The next, but they didn't technically draft him. The Lakers don't build through the draft. They never have. They got Magic in the draft and Worthy in the draft, but that was once they already had Kareem when those guys got there, by the way. That's not who they've been. And here's why I say that. Because after this year's draft, the Lakers have almost all their picks. After this year's draft, they're minus one draft pick. It's either 2024 or 2025. New Orleans gets to decide. But the obligations to New Orleans after this year's draft have expired except for one pick. So if they want to keep being the Lakers, Brew, and sell off future picks in order to get off Russ and try to build what Dallas was able to build in an offseason, which is we have a heliocentric player that is amazing in Luka. Let's surround him with shooting, and he's not great defensively. LeBron at this point in his career isn't consistent defensively. Let's make sure we do it. It can be done. The Mavs did it some in the offseason and some midseason, and they didn't have Anthony Davis anchoring that potential defense. The idea that it's an impossible task, it's not. It's only an impossible task if you want to sorry to use the cliche, have your cake and eat it too. Maximize LeBron's prime, but hold on to all our future picks. Man, sorry, as Les Snead once said, F them picks. Doesn't matter. That you're the Lakers. And so you can do that, or you can do a half measure and waste year 20 for LeBron, which they will. So that's, to me, they have to decide, are you still the Lakers, or are you just a basketball team in Los Angeles?
Right, and you mentioned Magic and Worthy being drafted.